Celtics-Warriors game. I'm more excited about the basketball game than the storylines going into it. But, of course, we'll get into that. And, of course, you can call in at 617-779-0985. That's the phone number. If you'd like to join tonight. Skaz is here. We got our intern, Joey, as well. Got a couple of Patriots notes later on. And I have some prop bets for tonight, or bets in general for tonight's game. Everybody will be watching. And I'm sure everybody will be watching Jayson Tatum tonight. Steve Kerr makes his return to Boston, who, an interesting circumstance. I haven't had a chance to listen to the shoot-around yet. Probably won't. I know the guys are back there. They'll have any audio if anything comes out that's worth mentioning. But, we're getting Celtics-Warriors tonight. Like, think of it as the two best teams in basketball over the last couple of years. Say what you want about the Boston Celtics. Yes, they won a championship last year, but they've been in the conversation almost every year. Multiple Eastern Conference Finals? You could make the argument the two best teams in basketball over the last 5 years have been the Warriors and the Celtics. You could argue it. The main storyline will be Jayson Tatum, Steve Kerr, the coach that sat Tatum during the during the Olympics, and was part of the chip that is on Jayson Tatum's shoulder. Not to mention Tatum fresh off leading the Celtics to an NBA championship. Kerr outright benched him for 2 games against Serbia. Kerr said matchups played a factor, and that he struggled to expand his 10-man rotation following the Team USA's first win over Serbia. And one of the quotes by Steve Kerr at the time was, during this tournament and this last 6 weeks, it's just hard to play 11 guys. Somehow Jayson Tatum was the 11th guy, which is insulting to begin with, but not a storyline I'm focusing on tonight, but I just wanted to bring it up. Kerr played 13 players just the other night, and the Warriors went over the Wizards. Tatum was benched for Team USA's second matchup against Serbia, which made the situation all more confusing. Tatum didn't say much about the controversy while he was at the Olympics in Paris, but he did chat about it on Celtics Media Day when he was asked if he would give him some more motivation heading into the new season. And Tatum gave an interesting response. He said, whatever the reason is, I haven't figured that out yet. Says he's a believer that everything does happen for a reason. But it was a good experience for him. He won a gold medal. He won his second gold medal and was around some of the best players ever to play the game on a daily basis. He built friendships. He was able to bring his family out there to enjoy the Olympics as well. Said it was a plus for him. So the whole storyline, Kerr, Tatum, it's there. But I don't think this is something that Tatum holds a grudge about. But if it's something that he helps him motivate him, I'm in on that. These guys need all the things to motivate them. But there's no doubt about it, Jayson Tatum's letting his play do the talking. His shot looks better, something that he worked on when it came to his three-point shooting. He's playing at an MVP level right now. He's averaging 30 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, and 5 assists a game. This is just over the first 8 games this year. He's shooting 48.8% of his shots from the floor. He's almost 36% from downtown. If this is the motivation he needed, I'm in. So the storyline, of course, this will be the top storyline, but let's not forget, we've been treated to really good basketball games when it comes to Celtics-Warriors. Of course, the Celtics are 7-1 this year. They're hoping to repeat, right? The Warriors aren't bad either. They're 6-1. They've won 4 straight games. 3 of those 4 wins came without Steph Curry. He returned the other night. He scored 24 points in a win over the Wizards. This is the thing about the Warriors you need to know. The mystique is still there. I don't love Steve Kerr. I hate his opinion in general about basketball or life. I'm out. But he still runs that team, that program. You could say it's run by Steph Curry. Well, when he's out, they've developed players. Out is Klay Thompson, one of the Splash Brothers. He's off to Dallas. But they have a cast of drafted players. Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Trace Jackson Davis, Brandon Podmensky, right? They have these guys. They've added Buddy Hield. Remember him? Wiggins is still there. Draymond Green still a part of the team that beat Boston in the championship. They have depth. 11, 12, 13. So again, it is insulting to Jason Tatum's intelligence that he'll play that deep for his own team but couldn't do it for the Olympic team. It's a story we'll get into for another day. But Celtics and Warriors, they bring the best out of each other. Yes, last year there was a 52-point win by the Celtics in Boston where they decided not to cover Jaylen Brown, and it absolutely torched them. They've split the regular season meetings in each of the last 3 seasons. 2 of the last 4 matchups have gone to overtime. Of course, Tatum will not have Jaylen Brown tonight. He'll miss his 3rd straight game. He's dealing with a hip flexor. Brown had his own issues with Team USA, if you want to throw that into the equation. But mixed in there, an NBA Finals matchup 2 postseasons ago. The Celtics and Warriors have a nice little thing going. The Tatum-Kerr controversy, they'll get things all charged up tonight. It will get the juices going. But let's not forget here, this is still Celtics versus Warriors. 2 of the best teams in the league. Steph Curry, no matter what you want to call it, he might be the best shooter in NBA history. He might not be able to defend. He might still have injuries. He'll still drop 23 on you. And you know what? He will put you to sleep. I think tonight the Celtics should be on notice. This isn't your typical old Warriors team. They have hungry, young players. They're deep. Draymond Green's playing differently this year. Like, they still have Looney off the bench and bigs that can play. The Celtics are struggling when it comes to points in the paint. 2 of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league, but also 2 of the best teams that can defend a 3. This is going to be a good one tonight. Right now, the Celtics are 6-point favorites. It was as high as 7 at one point. The total is 230. I expect this one to be a really tight one tonight on both sides of that. Spread and, of course, the total. There are some numbers I'll give you coming up here on the other side regarding the Warriors. They aren't the same team that just chucks up threes. They're not the team that just turns on the switch anymore. They have talented young players with skill mixed in with veterans and champions. Oh, and not to mention a coach that whether you love him or hate him, he's got the Warriors 6-1 this year, winners of 4 in a row, trying to come into Boston to knock them off. And let's not forget this little storyline either. Who's the last team to win back-to-back in the NBA? That's right. The Celtics are trying to do that this year. At least for one night, the Warriors can try to get in their way. We'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. We'll get Skaz's thoughts on the Warriors as well. It should be a good one. These 2 teams have always played tough. Throw the 52-point win last year for the Celtics out the window. These games come down to the wire. They also go to overtime. I expect that type of game tonight in Boston. We'll have all the coverage coming up at 7 o'clock. I'm Joe Murray. We'll take a quick break, and we'll get into some of these Warriors numbers coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
We can't control the story, So, I mean, that's this job. I mean, I tell our players all the time, the NBA is incredibly popular, and there's a reason it's so lucrative, and so part of the deal is you're going to be in the story, and so that can be tough. And I thought, from the beginning in Vegas, the whole thing was, hey, we're in this together. We got 12 Hall of Famers, and we're just committed to winning, and we won the gold medal. So I don't give it a whole lot of thought other than, I didn't enjoy, not playing Jason against Serbia, not playing Joel against South Sudan. Those are not fun decisions, but our guys were all amazing. They committed to each other. They committed to winning the gold medal. They brought the gold home for their country. They all handled themselves with incredible dignity and class, and that's the real story. But we live in a time where, we have to talk about stuff that actually doesn't really matter.
I mean, it's weird, but I take it as face value, even though I think it's all, I would love to say BS. Horse, it's manure. But did it sound almost sincere? I think I'll say yeah.
Yeah, and I know people I know Felger was saying, do you hate Steve Kerr? And Jay Stu was like, yeah, of course. I don't hate Steve Kerr. My only real problem with Steve Kerr and the whole Olympic thing is, tell us why. Why? What was the basketball reason? What did you see where 3-time All-NBA in a row champion Jason Tatum was not useful to your basketball team in winning a gold medal? That's the only thing. Just tell us. I'm an adult. I can handle it, Steve Kerr. Just let us know.
I think he can too.
Exactly.
Is it? Do you think that is it? Just how long have we talked about this, right? we had summer nights of just talking about this, and maybe we started creating our own chronicle of all this. But Mike Krzyzewski said years ago that he's a soft kid from St. Louis. I mean, the true story might be is that Steph, LeBron, and Durant might have wanted to win this on their own without Tatum.
So I think that
in 4
is a
years,
big part
Tatum
of
will get his. So is that why? Maybe he was soft, and I don't mean soft. I think it as delicate.
I think Steve Kerr knew that it was the last ride for Steph, LeBron, and Durant, and that was a big focal point. And he did mention that during the run. So, I don't hate Steve Kerr. I have no real... They won the gold medal. Steve Kerr's job as the Olympic men's basketball head coach is to win the gold medal. Do I think it was disrespectful the way he handled Jason Tatum? Yes. Do I think Jason Tatum now has some deep personal vendetta against Steve Kerr? No. I still think Jaylen Brown has the deeper personal vendetta against Team USA and Steve Kerr and Grant Hill and all that. I think Jason Tatum handled this very well. I don't expect him to be anything he isn't tonight. I don't expect him to be demonstrative or over the top. He's going to play his game, probably have a 30-point, almost triple-double, because that's basically what he does every night now. And I expect the Celtics to win. I'm sorry if that's boring, but that's just kind of what I expect.
So I think this is going to be a challenge for the Celtics. But sticking on Kerr for a second here, there are things I don't like about Steve Kerr, but that's me personally, right? Do I think he's an overrated coach? I do. Now, do I have proof of that? Maybe it's Luke Walton coming in at one point, or Mike Brown, or one of these guys can just somewhat take over and the team can still win. I mean, I don't know. Could anybody have coached, just to compare, because they're the most dominant team of our basketball decade, right? Or our basketball time. Could anybody have coached Tom Brady and the Patriots? I don't know.
So we're all pushed back on that because do I think Steve Kerr is Eric Spoelstra or Greg Popovich? No. But in that league, it takes a certain, personality massager, someone that can handle the egos in the NBA, someone that can deal with a Draymond Green and a Klay Thompson who felt, underutilized at times and he wasn't getting enough shine, and the superstar of Steph Curry, and then bringing in Kevin Durant. So do I think the Warriors could win a title without Steve Kerr? Absolutely. Do I think they win as many titles without Steve Kerr? No, I don't, because I think Steve Kerr was in a unique position where he played with Michael Jordan. He knew what it take to win titles. His voice carried weight in that locker room, and I do think he's an above-average coach in the league, and he's a way above league average in managing the players in that league. And I think that goes a long way in a league where talent wins out no matter what. I think Steve Kerr realizes that and lets his players, kind of take the reins. So I'm not going to say I think Steve Kerr's a bad coach or anything like that.
He doesn't suck, all right? Like, is he Doc Rivers? Maybe he's better than
He's
Doc.
definitely better than Doc Rivers.
All right, so then he's better than Doc. No, for real. Actually, if Maz is listening, Maz, I think NBA coaching tiers would be great. Because Kerr still, you mentioned Spoelstra. He's probably the best coach in the league because he gets everything out of the player that he gets, right? Whether they're undrafted, second round, whatever.
In the playoffs.
Yeah, and in the playoffs, yes.
Not in the regular season usually, but in the playoffs.
But and I don't know if that's a Riley thing. Like I don't know. But when it comes to X's and O's, who was the two to Steve Kerr during the Team USA? It was Eric Spoelstra, right? Spoelstra will probably be the next guy, right? Oh, who was the two next?
It was Spoelstra and Tyrone Lue, I think, were both there.
But in 4 years, when it's probably Tatum and Brown,
it'll be Spoelstra, I would have to imagine.
There you go. So, like, is that the torch passing? Like, is that something we don't know? Is this like the unwritten rule of Team USA basketball and Nike's got their hand in it? Whatever. The story I'm trying to say tonight is it's not about Steve Kerr and Jason Tatum. This is about two damn good basketball teams. But what did Joe Mazzulla say? Remember Tatum kind of said, I think Joe really loved, even though Joe Mazzulla, if you read the article, went out and flew out to go see Tatum and to check on him. And remember, Jaylen Brown sent them a text saying, "I'm mad for you, bro." Like, these guys cared about him. He's got people protecting him too. But let's hear the quote. This is what Mazzulla, talking about Tatum saying that he came out and, is he happy that he didn't play? Let's hear that.
Joe was probably the happiest person in the world that I didn't win Finals MVP and that I didn't play in 2 of the games in the Olympics. That was odd, but if you know Joe, it makes sense. Did I need any extra motivation coming into the season? No, I don't. I'm not going to give anybody in particular credit that they're motivating me to come into the season. It was a unique circumstance, something I haven't experienced before in my playing career. But I'm a believer that everything happens for a reason.
Yep. I like that quote, but I know what actually I hate, guys, is with the people who say everything happens for a reason. But in this case, I understand it, right? Worse things could have happened to Jason Tatum. Like, everything happens for a reason. All right, man. Yeah, you didn't play in Team USA, but you get your second gold. You get to hang out with everybody, and your family got to get a free trip to Paris, bro. Like, as people are driving in tonight, I want you to have the juice of the Warriors coming into town. Add the Steve Kerr angle. But tonight, Steve Kerr's not on the court. Like, he's not out there tonight. And I do want to give you a scenario. And actually, Felger and Maz were the ones who put me in check on this one. I wanted to go to the game where Roger Goodell came back after the Tom Brady suspension, guys.
The towel game.
I wanted to go. Roger Goodell was going to be in the house, and I wanted to boo Roger Goodell. Like, I wanted to be there that night. They're going to raise the banner. Goodell is going to be there. Like, I made, like, a big deal about it. I was on the air, like, doing that. I went. I booed. It lasted 3 minutes. I felt like an idiot. So, this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. You should have the juice going into it. Right? Sell the tickets, right? Get it all ready to go. But when it comes down to it, you want to watch a game, don't you? Don't you want to watch a game? So I will take the L. I went to that game. I watched them raise the banner, and I booed Roger Goodell. And really, in the end, what did I get out of it? I humiliated myself. And I did it on the radio. But you all went along with it and liked it too. So that's my only takeaway is I wanted to relate with the fans. I was a season ticket holder. I wanted to go, damn it. I booed. But I sat down and I said, I really hope we get a good football game tonight.
Yeah, I hope and want Celtics fans to boo tonight. I hope the building is, jacked up for this game. I expect them to be. Celtics fans don't forget. They know what happened this summer. They're going to defend their guy, Jason
The green
Tatum.
remember?
Yeah, the green remember, Joe. So, yeah, I expect a very lively crowd at the Garden tonight.
I wrote an article over at 985thesports.com, and you feel free to read it if you want. If you don't, whatever. But the Celtics and Warriors have been must-watch. And Sean Grandy just had this, and I want to give him, Grandy does the game and then has all these stats by his side, which I think is even more impressive. But in the Warriors' golden era, right? Let's call it 10 years, 14 to 25. Only 2 teams have a winning record against the Warriors. And I said, the 2 best teams over the last 5 years. All right, should I stick it out to 10 years then? Is it harder to go in 10 years, or should I just keep it to 5?
Joe, this is your sample size. You decide.
The Big Joe sample size. You know what? Damn it, over the last 10 years, the 2 best teams in basketball have been the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors. And I got numbers. Numbers. The Celtics are 11-9 in those 20 games. The Denver Nuggets, who are in the same conference, 18-16. What's the common theme here? All 3 of them have won championships. One of them won back-to-back, the last team to do it. The other is on their way to be doing it. Denver's going in the other direction, Skaz, if you ask me. Best player in the league, not supporting their best player, giving them Russell Westbrook. Woof, 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 woof. I will say this, though. We talked about this as we were leaving last night, Skaz. We were giving takes in the parking lot last night. But Myers was the GM there for a long time. He's now where in Washington with Jaden Daniels or whatever?
I think he's part of the Commanders front office.
Okay, yeah. So now he's doing that. Just listen to these players. The Splash Brothers are no more. Yes, Draymond's on the back 9, but he still can help out. They got Andrew Wiggins in that trade. He crushed the Celtics. They're still there. But this new cast of characters. Remember Trace Jackson Davis had that bit. Was it on Tatum, by the way? Remember they went to the basket and he had that huge block?
He's been good this year, too.
Been good? Podsy. I call him Podsy. Podzimski. I know he's got an illness. I don't know if he's playing tonight.
Yeah, I haven't seen they said he's questionable as of right now.
He's made a lot of strides. He was a rookie last year. Kuminga, I know they've expected more out of him, but he still averages 14 points a game. Like, good player. Player. Wow. And then Buddy Hield. He's been incredible. He's made 33 threes on the year. It's tied for second in the NBA behind who? Jason Tatum. He's 33 of 66 from downtown this year. He's shooting 50% from 3. We always have known Buddy Hield was a good 3-point shooter. He was one of the guys the Celtics might have been in on at one point in drafting. He's shooting 50%. You know what else? Catch and shoot, right? Everyone, that's the big. He's got 24 catch and shoot threes. Number 1 in the NBA. He's 24 of 41. He's shooting 59% when it comes to catch and shoot. By the way, another candidate for 6th man of the year. Speaking of that, Peyton Pritchard has shot 30 of 67 from 3 this year, 45%. I think Naz Reid and these 2 guys are in the top 3 for 6th man of the year this year.
21 minutes ago, Podzemski was ruled out.
Oh!
So that's a big for the Celtics.
So Brown, they're going to have to go now probably 11 deep now instead of their 12 or 13. And the Celtics going to... Is Kata starting? Do we know if Kata's starting tonight?
We do not know yet.
Interested.
We'll know around 7 o'clock.
All right, yep. So spread is 6, total is 230. I just wanted to mention this about the Warriors. They've had this great team for years, 10-year run. Now they have these drafted players that are making an impact. And remember, they drafted James Wiseman they got the 2nd overall pick or whatever? This team has still built it around Steph Curry. Kerr is still here. They're developing talent. The Celtics developed their talent and are now in the prime of their career and adding big-time free agents and trades. The only thing that has split up the Warriors is this damn salary cap. But they've drafted so well and made great trades. They're going to be consistent for a long time. The Celtics window's now. I still think we're going to get a good game tonight. I got more numbers for you coming up on the other side. We'll take a quick look at the Sports Hub headlines. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics. The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. We're getting you ready for tonight's Celtics-Warriors game, which, telling you right now, these two teams have always played well. A couple of times they've gone to overtime. The last time you saw it, though, it was that 52-point thrashing a year ago where Jaylen Brown had 29 points, but he's missing his third straight game tonight with a hip injury. Oh, do we have an update on that, by the way? So we heard from Steve Kerr. He sounded sincere, but like whatever. You could, if you're a fan, I'm sure you just hated it. But I feel like he sounded sincere. But we did get an update, at least some update from Joe Mazzulla regarding Jaylen Brown's injury. Let's hear that one, Skaz.
Confirming no Jaylen Brown tonight, and if you have an update there, if you've talked to him about it.
He's out.
Have you been able to talk to Jaylen about the injury?
Mm-hmm. I talk to him every day.
What were those conversations like?
I mean, we both kind of mumble when we talk, and then we just shake hands and move on.
Did he happen to mumble about his hip at all?
I couldn't understand him.
Do you have any sense if that's going to linger for a while?
The mumbling or the injury?
Both.
No. I don't. I mean, he works hard every day, trying to just come back. I think it's a day-to-day thing, so we'll see how he is when he wakes up tomorrow, and then just go from there. But he's in every day working at it.
Okay. Fine. I mean, if he's making jokes in the press conference about it, is it really that serious?
That was kind of my takeaway as well. If Mazzulla's handling it like that, it doesn't seem like they're overly concerned. So I wouldn't be overly concerned as a Celtics fan either.
Yeah. Listen, I might be wrong on this one, but from what I gather about hip injuries, you either have a terrible one like Bo Jackson, Roosevelt Colvin that's blood related that just gets into your hip. I mean, Robert Williams had one, remember? Robert Williams had an injury or had that issue when he got drafted. That's why he fell in the draft. But then there's the guys who have the other ones where it's a pain tolerance. So, yeah, this is a long season, so then maybe they're just worrying about it now. He's had multiple MRIs on it. I think it's a pain tolerance thing, so I don't know that, but what's the extent of the MRI? We don't know.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of worries me is this feels like a game that Jaylen Brown really would have loved to play in tonight, and he's a guy that is a gamer and always wants to be out there so for him to kind of, sit this one out and not get his, quote-unquote revenge against Steve Kerr and Team USA, that does give me slight pause, but hearing Mazzulla handle it like that, yeah, if he's not taking it too seriously, I guess the perception can't be that bad.
The only thing in their way is injuries, so we can't just brush it off. Right? Like, we could listen to that and say, oh, yeah, no problem here, nothing to see here. It's just like Porzingis coming back. Right now, 2 of their 3 best players are on the shelf. That's why tonight I think the Warriors have a shot. The Celtics and Warriors bring the best out in each other. They've split their regular season matchups each of the last 3 seasons. 2 of the last 4 matchups have gone to overtime. And let's mix in the NBA Finals matchup 2 seasons ago, or postseasons ago. The Celtics and Warriors have always been must-watch. But this matchup also features 2 of the league's best 3-point shooting teams against each other. Boston averages 19 makes per game, which is number 1 in the league. The Warriors average just about 16 in the league. It's second. So the Celtics edge Golden State out in terms of volume. They take almost 51 threes per game. The Warriors take 42. These are the 2 best 3-point shooting teams in the league. But the new-look Warriors, I mentioned this. They've done so well in their draft and in free agency. Buddy Hield's been the difference. He's made 33 threes. I told you, second in the league, tied with Tatum. And he's killing it off the catch and shoot. So the spread's 6 tonight. Total is 30. I think the Warriors are a much improved defensive team. In the first half, this is something I wanted to bring up. Tatum's had these great first quarters, but they're only giving up 47 points in the first half. The Celtics are averaging 66. The first half betting line tonight, 57. I think without Brown, they play a much tighter game tonight. But there are a couple of other things I wanted to bring up here. The Warriors are number 2 in the NBA in defensive rating this year. The Celtics have struggled on that end. I gave you the Buddy Hield numbers. He's shooting 50 and 60% from 3, whether it's just making shots or the catch and shoot. He's 60% on the catch and shoot. Now, Kevin Looney off the bench has been killing it as well. That's another bench guy. This is somewhere the Celtics struggle. Points in the paint. Per 36 minutes, Looney is second in the league in rebounds and first in offensive rebounds. So I don't know who starts tonight. Is it Cornette? Is it Queta? The other thing is, would you want Cornette off the bench going with Looney? I'm curious about those matchups. It is fascinating. The two of the league's best three-point shooting teams against each other. The other thing is this. The teams will be fighting to keep each other off the three-point line. The Warriors have been better at defending the perimeter this year. They're allowing opponents to take threes just 37% of the time compared to the Celtics, 38.5. I think it's going to be tough for the Celtics tonight with the above the break threes. And the Celtics have the highest frequency in the league to do that this year. So not only are the Warriors preventing those looks, they're also defending them at the best percentage in the NBA. The Warriors hold their opponents to 28% shooting from beyond the arc. Boston's good at it, 34%. But trails Golden State. And the teams are almost perfectly designed to defend each other. While neither are playing at, a fast pace, this aligns well for the under tonight. I'm going under 230 for this one if you want to bet. The Warriors are 3-4 to the under this year. Celtics 5-3 to the under this year. So, two of the best three-point shooting teams, two of the better teams when it comes to defending the perimeter. But I think the Warriors are slightly better this year than the Celtics. Take Jaylen Brown out of the mix tonight. I think this game's going to be a lot closer. I gave you the numbers. Besides the 52-point blowout last year, these two teams come down to the wire. And the Warriors right now, they have a really long rotation of good young players and veterans. Buddy Hield has been outstanding. And tonight they're going to have him come off the bench. I'm curious. I think their bench is better than the Celtics, guys. I do. Moody, right? Looney, I mentioned him.
But, Joe, the Celtics have the sixth man of the year.
Peyton Pritchard. This would be a good one. Buddy Hield, Pritchard with Brown out. How does that all work out tonight? This is really going to be a good coaching matchup, right? Missoula's going to get tested. They're going to go deep.
I would have liked to see Podziemski. I would have liked to see DeAnthony Melton. Obviously, Jaylen.
Yeah.
But, this is still a very good matchup. You're going to see some guys that you're not used to seeing, I think. What Andrew Wiggins will we get tonight, too? Will we get NBA Finals Andrew Wiggins, or will we get the Andrew Wiggins that he's been for the majority of his career?
Yeah. I wanted to mention this one. I know you sent this to me, Skaz, too, and I know we're up against it. But Justin Tatum, Jason Tatum's dad, was coaching for a team overseas.
He is a coach in the NBL, I believe, in Australia.
And he was trying to follow along what was going on with his son. And, he said it made sense to him, but he also wanted to tell his son that coaches make decisions before and don't take it as motivation, not disrespect. Continue to tell his kid, hey, keep your head up. He didn't understand why he wasn't playing, but at the same time, he respected the coach's decision. So I think tonight, and I bring up I wanted to go to the game where Roger Goodell went after the Patriots won the Super Bowl and Deflategate and all that, and I wanted to go out there and boo Goodell, and after I did it, I felt like a loser. Don't let that take over two of the best teams in the NBA going at it tonight. Two of the best teams over the last 10 years in the NBA. National television. The night after the election. Like there's a lot going on tonight. Make it about basketball, not about Tatum and Kerr. This is Warriors, Celtics. Every time they play, there's something on the line tonight. And clearly there is. One that's won 4 in a row. The other that just won a championship looking to go back-to-back where the other team has done it. I'm interested to watch what happens on the court tonight and how does Jason Tatum rise to the occasion. Because he has. He's been sending a message all season long to the league. Can he do it again tonight? 617-779-0985. Take a quick break. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
As the final seconds tick off the clock. It seemed impossible. For 3 years, they went through setbacks, through injuries, through heartbreak, and it felt for all the world like their time had passed. But the gold has risen to the top, and the Warriors are NBA champions again. They are the second team in NBA history to come to Boston and beat the Celtics in Boston for the NBA championship.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. Just had to remind everybody. 2 years ago, the Celtics had the Warriors against the ropes. And they let him off the hook. And they crowned him. The Warriors crowned him. The last team to win back-to-back championships in the NBA. And the Celtics have a chance to do it this year. The numbers are true. The two best teams in the NBA the last 10 years are the Celtics and the Warriors. The Warriors have a lot more jewelry to show for it. But right now, the Celtics are in the prime of their career. Let's see how this next generation of Warriors, what can it do? All I'll tell you right now is I think they're one of the best teams in the NBA right now. I'd argue they're better than the Denver Nuggets right now. Can they stay healthy? And again, the golden era, 2014 to 2025. The Celtics are 11-9 versus Golden State. Denver 18-16. They're in their own conference. The Celtics have outscored the Warriors by almost 5 points per game in that span. Looking at the betting line right now, Celtics are 6-point favorites tonight. I see a tight game. I'm going under. I'm also going Jason Tatum. First basket of the night. How about that for a greasy number? For James Karamazine.